Every year on June 4th for the last 3 decades, a sea of candles light up Hong Kong's Victoria Park to remember those who died during the Tiananmen crackdown of 1989.
Every time when I see the candle lights in Victoria Park in the past 30 years, you know that there's something that guns and tanks and jails cannot crash.
It's the only June 4th vigil of its size on Chinese soil, only possible because free speech and free assembly has been protected in the former British colony since its handover back to China, under the one country, two systems framework, which granted Hong Kong semi-autonomy. Just miles away in mainland China, where Tiananmen scholar Rowena He grew up, any reference to the incident is heavily censored, seen as criticism of the Beijing government.
Why Hong Kong is so important to me all these years? Because they have been the beacon of light, the candle light.
But the winds in Hong Kong are shifting. After a year of protests and unrest, Beijing fast-tracked a severe new national security law for the city. This year, the police banned the vigil, citing coronavirus measures. But tens of thousands turned out in defiance anyway, removing barriers to enter the park, peacefully commemorating, fearing it may be the last time. When the national security law was finally enacted in Hong Kong at the beginning of July, tempers predictably flared. But it was the days afterwards that a very apparent new reality in Hong Kong was quickly dawning. Calling for independence was immediately a crime. And with political slogans banned, protesters instead holding up blank pieces of paper and post-it notes. And Beijing's tightening grip even found some prime real estate.
This is Beijing's brand new office in charge of enforcing the national security law and gathering intelligence for it. It's very secretive and very powerful, and it's just 100 metres away from Victoria Park, where many protests have started.
Mainland Chinese security agents will now have an unobstructed view of any future Tiananmen vigils. The national security law targets what China calls crime of secession, subversion, terrorism and collusion with foreign forces. The law carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment, and in some cases, suspects could be sent to mainland China for trial. In an ironic twist, this new law has far more wide-ranging implications than the extradition bill, which sparked last year's protests. One of the most well-known faces of Hong Kong's democracy movement, Nathan Law fled Hong Kong a day after the new law came into force.
Well, it was definitely a very tough choice. Riding on the plane, I don't know whether that would be the last time I saw the skyline of Hong Kong, at least for a foreseeable future.
He's now in self-imposed exile in London so he can freely lobby foreign governments, as he did this week, meeting with US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. This would be considered a crime under the new law.
What is it about the national security law that worries you so much?
Well, the law is written in such a vague term that the Communist Party could interpret arbitrarily.
Nathan Law's fellow activists like Joshua Wong say signs of this chilling effect is already evident in Hong Kong's libraries.
Let's have a look now on the library catalogue for Joshua Wong. And here you can see it says no lending copy is available on shelf now. If you click on it, you can see his book coming up here, a list of different libraries in Hong Kong, and all of them say under review.
The government department in charge of the libraries said that they have to make sure all their books are in compliance with local laws. Even amongst the notoriously aggressive and freewheeling press corps, journalists like Oscar Liu feel uneasy navigating the new landscape.
Yeah, I worry about the journalism in the future would be like in the mainland Chinese being censored by the state. I don't know how much freedom we have left to do our job.